course, I haven't cleaned the glass. I always do this when I don't clean the glass. Oh, everyone's all freaking out. 45-gallon water change, and it's 187 gallons. So that was done on Sunday, and today is Tuesday. The golden algae is still present. I can definitely say that, like, the fluconazole did not impact the corals over the last 3 weeks at all. I saw no signs of distress from any of the corals or inverts. Everything handled it great, from these Monty caps here to the SPS that I have, the soft coral. These guys weren't impacted whatsoever. They had no signs of distress at all. You can see on the refugium side, there's definitely a little bit of cyano growing back down in here, which I'm not too concerned with, right? I've always had a little bit of cyano in my sump in my last tank for years. I mean, just almost all the time. But it is getting a little bit out of control. I got to make sure I can figure out what's happening there. My nutrients are not bottomed out or anything. Although I do see the pods crawling all over it. So I don't know if they consume some of that. But yeah, I was just looking at all the pods. And those guys are just, they're everywhere. Since I do carbon dose, I do have bacterial colonies that are, they kind of, I don't know, they've bloomed back in here. But this is a lot less than it used to be because I've dropped down my carbon dosing. This is much less than it used to be. Before it was like just these pink giant sways. It was really kind of gross, but it kind of acts like coral food if it stays in here. And the way I have it set up is that it overflows into this overflow drain or overflow back there, back down into the sump area. So you can see where I kind of updated, like the sandbed I did a couple of times when I was siphoning out water. I brushed it away. The golden algae that was on there hasn't come back as quickly. I might be getting a little some growth of diatoms, which is kind of nice, and that's probably what I'm going to try to keep doing, is maybe encourage things like diatom growth just to help cover surfaces to outcompete the golden algae. It's significantly different here on the front, right? It doesn't look like it did when I first started. So I think it's gotten way better. So it's been, this process has gone on for 2 months since I started actually trying to take care of it. So definitely seeing progress, just a lot of patience and definitely a lot of frustration, but doing it slow so none of the animals get stressed out or get hurt. If I look on this side of the tank, you can definitely see the golden algae is still on the live rocks. By no means is it done. There is a lot of golden algae everywhere. And I am just, hesitant to introduce algicide, even though I have read numerous forum posts from users of, at the time they thought was a bacterial product, but users of Vibrant back in the 20 teens, and battling golden algae, they found success against it with an algicide. What the hell is that? Like one of those 3D printed frag pegs? Yeah, so he's doing that. I mean, honestly, it's like it's everywhere. I can blow it off and it comes right back. And I'm trying really hard to not let it bother the corals. I'm getting I still have some good coral growth, but man, it's still everywhere. It's still a little frustrating on that front. Okay, well, this guy's wearing a toadstool. That's funny. Man, this guy's gorgeous. I love powder blues. They just look beautiful. I mean, look at this guy. What's up, bud? Kind of a butthead, aren't you, though? Well, I dropped the carbon dose down since I was doing the fluconazole, so that dose has not changed. It's still a very slight dose. I think it's like 24 to 30 mils a day of my sort of DIY no pox, which is just vinegar and vodka mixed with some RODI water. I should still have a good healthy bacterial population. So I went ahead and I did get Dino-X. Fauna Marin seems to have a good reputation, even though they are still one of those vendors that still doesn't say exactly what's in their product, but at least they address it, especially on Reef to Reef if you reach out. But what got me really intrigued about this over all the other algicides like Algifix from API is that they specifically call out golden algae, this Goldalgen. So it says it takes care of golden algae. Now the only thing about an algicide though, and I believe it has the same ingredients as other algicides, an algae is an integral part of the ecosystem of any tank, right? So, I don't have any of those issues in this tank. This tank is well balanced and it's been running for years. It just kind of sits in my office, right? So this other tank, the one that's out here, it's a year and 3 months, year and 4 months, right? Or more? No. Since November. So what is that? Or last November. So not that long. So it's still a relatively new tank. It would be nice, man, if I use this. It would be great if it took care of that algae. Man, it would really just be nice. Because I would like to start stocking up on coral, but I don't want to introduce any other coral livestock until I have this thing under control. Maybe this is the answer. I'm not sure. I'm just, because algae is important to the ecosystem, it's integral to the biology of the corals themselves. I mean, look at the growth of this stylo. This thing is bigger than my hand, right? The growth of this fox flame acro here, look at that. It's almost taken over a good 3-4 inches of this rock, and this guy has gotten a ton of growth. And I don't want to lose, even though I know these aren't super expensive corals. I mean, relatively. The fox flame, I think, may have been, I don't know, $150 or something when I got a teeny weeny frag. But I mean, time and money, and it's scary looking at these types of solutions. But this type of algae is just so unique in its in its aggressive properties. I don't know. This may be my only avenue to try to fight it. And it's scary when you go and read the reviews, like on Bulk Reef Supply or saltwateraquarium.com. I think I was looking at Bulk Reef Supply. So many people are like, "Oh God, it killed everything in my tank," or some people were like, "No, it worked perfectly." The thing is, you just have to be very careful, right? I have to know exactly what I'm doing. Read the directions 1,000 times and understand how much of this I'm actually putting into my tank and for how long, and have a plan. And it's just kind of be very careful with it. This might be my next step. I'm not sure.